It's Friday, the 16th of April 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, the miraculous Australian jobs market pushes the unemployment rate lower as more people than ever join the workforce. Plus, Commonwealth Bank boss Matt Comyn calls for more regulation of the buy now, pay later sector. Qantas and Virgin talk up domestic capacity, but international flights are still in doubt. And one of the country's biggest coal companies gets hammered for downgrading earnings again. Our lead story today, the unemployment rate fell to 5.6% in March after 70,000 new jobs were added to the economy. The Bureau of Statistics figures show a sharp rise in part-time jobs while full-time jobs were lower. The result came at a time when the participation rate, a measure of how many people looked for a job, hit an all-time high. Over the past 3 days, the economic news has been unambiguously strong. Business conditions are at a 12-year high, consumer confidence is at an 11-year record, and the employment market is much better than expected. Whereas previous recessions have taken between 2 and 4 years to recoup job losses, this one's taken less than 12 months. Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg welcomed the figures but said there was a long way to go. Commonwealth Bank boss Matt Comyn, speaking before the figures were released, called the recovery in the labour market miraculous. And Westpac boss Peter King said the labour market was robust and the vast majority of his customers were in a better position now than a year ago. These figures will make a serious dent in the budget deficit because the government is not paying out as much in unemployment receipts and receiving more in income tax, but it still doesn't mean the Reserve Bank will lift interest rates anytime soon. In overseas news, Europe has passed 1 million COVID-19 deaths and about 1.6 million new cases are still being reported each week, according to the World Health Organization. In total, there have been almost 3 million coronavirus deaths from 138.6 million cases. Two top officials in the Japanese government said that there would be major changes to the organisation of the Tokyo Olympics because of the surge in coronavirus cases in Japan. One option for the Olympics, which are less than 100 days away, is to cancel them altogether. Citigroup will exit retail banking in 13 markets across the globe, including Australia. That means no more Citi credit cards or mortgages. And US stocks have hit new record highs after retail sales and weekly jobless claims figures suggested an acceleration in the world's biggest economy. Locally, Commonwealth Bank boss Matt Comyn believes the buy now, pay later sector, including market leader Afterpay, should be subjected to the comprehensive credit reporting regime. He said the sector was too big to avoid regulation and users of the payment apps were more risky than non-users. The Commonwealth Bank has estimated that $10 billion is spent annually using buy now, pay later apps. Westpac boss Peter King yesterday said serious consideration should be given to New South Wales's broad-based land tax idea, whereby owners get a choice of paying a small annual land tax instead of a large stamp duty payout up front. Mr King said he thought house prices would rise by 10% this year and next. Commonwealth Bank's Mr Comyn made a similar prediction. The S&P ASX 200 closed up 0.5% to 7,059 points yesterday, a new 13-month high. It's now just 1.5% shy of its all-time record from February last year. The big miners did very well yesterday. BHP and Rio Tinto both jumped 3%, while Fortescue Metals rose 3.5%. State and federal governments are working through plans to roll out the Pfizer vaccine to over 10 million under 50-year-olds. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said mass hubs run by the states will be critical to getting people their first dose. All that's fine, but if we can't get the supply of the jabs, we can't roll them out. Virgin CEO Jane Herdlicker said she was hopeful international travel will recommence by October and domestic travel will be back to normal by the end of this year. Virgin said it would lease 10 more aircraft and bring 375 cabin crew back to work, of which 220 were former crew. Meanwhile, Qantas said it expects to reach 90% of its pre-pandemic domestic capacity by the end of the 2021 financial year, assuming there's no more significant border closures. Coal producer Whitehaven said quarterly sales are up, but the mine had cut its production sales and unit cost guidance because of problems at its Narrabri mine, triggering a 15% slump in its share price. It's the second downgrade in 24 days from the coal miner, which is irregular. In between the two, Chief Executive Paul Flynn has sold $1.7 million worth of shares. And Coca-Cola Amatil will put the $9.8 billion takeover bid from Coca-Cola European partners to shareholders today. And if passed, as expected, It will mark the end of 50 years as a listed company on the ASX. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today we talk to Jim Penman, the founder of Jim's Mowing, who turned a simple lawn mowing business into a global franchise. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.